trickery is this? Mal'Ganis! I don't know how you survived, but I will...
Calm yourself, Prince Arthas. I am Tichondrius. Like Mal'Ganis, I am a Dreadlord. But I am not your enemy. In truth, I've come to congratulate you.
Congratulate me?
By killing your own father and delivering this land to the Scourge, you have passed your first test. The Lich King is pleased with your enthusiasm.
Yes. I've damned everyone and everything I've ever loved in his name. And I still feel no remorse, no shame, no pity.
The rune blade that you carry was forged by the Lich King and empowered to steal souls. Yours was the first one it claimed.
Then I'll make do without one. What is the Lich King's will?
The cult of the damned must be rallied once again. Many of the acolytes have been in hiding amongst the populace. Once you've rallied them, I will give you further instructions.
Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
Greetings, great lord. Our master, Kel'Thuzad, told us that you would come.
Kel'Thuzad? How could he have known it?
Be wary. If the townsfolk see your undead minions, they'll call the local guards to stop you.
What is it now? Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it.
The undead!
I bow to
Sound
your
the
will,
alarm!
coward.
Prince Arthas, arm yourselves!
Finally. Ah, at last. This is more like it. For the Lich King.
Seek out the local graveyards. Those buried there will serve you well.
This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Now, Frostmourne. Finally. Speak, fool. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. Finally. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
How could you murder your own father?
Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Ah, at last.
The undead!
I
Sound
bow
the
to
alarm!
your will.
Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. For the Lich King. This is more like it.
Help! The undead
You will know
have
endless
returned.
torment. Faithless coward. Finally. What is it now? This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally. Tread lightly. Ah, at last. Speak, fool. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last.
You bastard!
Ah, at last. I'm in luck. These graves were dug recently. Arise, in the name of the Lich King. No one orders me around. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. My fame shall be legendary. Ah, at last. Finally.
The undead! Sound the alarm!
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
My life for Nazul.
This is more like
The
it.
dead have risen again. Guards!
Finally. At last. Finally. This is more like it. At last.
Say your prayers. Bandits, run!
For the Lich King. Now, Frostmourne. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
I live only to
Frostmourne
serve,
hungers.
great lord.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
I live only to
at
serve,
last.
great lord.
Frostmourne hungers. You will know endless torment.
The damned stand ready.
Finally. Tread lightly. This is more like it. At last. Now, Frostmourne. You will know endless
I
torment.
live only to serve, great lord.
This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. At
Help.
I
last.
Undead
live
have
only
returned.
to serve, great lord.
You should burn in hell.
This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. At last.
I live only to
Frostmourne
serve, great
hungers.
lord.
The dead have risen again.
Finally.
Guards! The undead!
bow
to
Sound the
your
alarm!
Your pain shall be legendary.
Kill them all!
Finally. At last. For the Lich King. Now, Frostmourne. Frostmourne hungers. At last.
My life for Nazul.
This is
My
more
life
like
for
it.
Nazul.
Finally.
The
At
undead!
last.
Sound the alarm!
This is more like it. Ah, at last.
I bow to your
Frostmourne
will.
hungers. Finally.
Betrayed us all.
This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it.
Help! The undead have returned.
Ah, at last.
The damned stand ready.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. This is more like it.
The dead have risen again. The undead have returned. Guards!
Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
The undead have returned.
I live only to
Frostmourne
The
serve.
undead
hungers.
have returned.
Ah, at last. This is more like it.
Well done, Death Knight. The cult is nearly assembled.
Lordaeron lies in ashes. What good are these cultists to us now?
They will aid you in your next undertaking.
And what's that?
You will go to Underhaul and recover the remains of the Acolyte's former master, the necromancer, Kel'Thuzad.